What's up, everyone? I don't know if you noticed, but this channel that you're on right now has hit 10,000 subscribers, and that's insane to me. Starting this 3 years ago, I was like, man, there's not one person that wants to hear me talk about tokusatsu and joke around about it. But now 10,000 of you do, and that's crazy. So I'm doing what everyone does when they hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'm doing an Ask Me Anything. I asked you guys on Twitter, on the community page, on Instagram to ask me questions, and I thought I'd give this space as like a more formal place for me to answer them, a little bit more long form. So here is what you had to ask. A stranger on the internet asked, if you were going to make a season of Rider based on other existing franchises, what franchise would you choose? Digimon? Like, that's what Kamen Rider Lynx is it's just basically Kamen Rider and Digimon, and I squished them together in like the most janky way I know how, so Digimon. Pink Carbonara asks, are there any big plans or direction to expand your channel in the future? Also, what are the 3 digits on the back of your credit card? 069. And also, like, the dream for the channel is to become like this big conglomerate one-stop shop to be for tokusatsu, but like YouTube isn't really made for that right now. They really want like niche down, like if you're a reaction channel, you're only reactions, or if you're a video game channel, you're only video games. I've always thought of like this IGN for tokusatsu, if that makes sense. It's just the problem is that tokusatsu is only as big as the like big 3 want to make it, that being, you know, Tsuburaya, Toei, and Toho, and at least one of those that has the biggest part of that isn't really interested in making it any bigger than it is outside of Japan. So for now, that will have to like stay as it is. I think hopefully in the next year, I'll be able to hire more editors. I just hired an editor for the Clips channel, and that one's been taken off a little bit. So yeah, just editors and more people joining the team. Matthew Mincy asks, what is one toku show that had a rough start in your opinion, but became either a favorite or at least was more enjoyable by the end of its run? It's not like a whole show or anything, but Trio of Deep Sin, Kamen Rider Saber's V Cinema, made me like Kamen Rider Saber more. I'm not like the biggest fan of that season at all, but then watching Trio of Deep Sin, which is, by the way, the best Kamen Rider movie, better than Shin Kamen Rider, it made me a lot more accepting of Saber's flaws and such, because like it's just such a good movie, and it made me enjoy those characters a lot more than I did during the series. What's your favorite video on your channel? Is there a video you didn't expect to be as successful as it got, and which? And is there a video on your channel you find to be underrated? Selfishly, I think my favorite video is the 100,000 yen tokusatsu toy unboxing, because I got a bunch of tokusatsu toys, but if I'm being honest, probably Kamen Riders But American. That's where I fan casted Kamen Riders. In terms of a video that was more successful than I thought it was ever going to be, the Rider recap by far. Those videos get like net almost 10,000 views every single time I do them, and it's just a bunch of memes and me reacting to memes on Reddit, and it's such a fun stream. There's been ways to reiterate on it, or new ways to do it since then. It's just Reddit has gotten less enjoyable since they have all these strict new rules, but other than that, like the first couple Rider recaps were just a time to be alive. Is there a video I find to be underrated on the channel? Yes, it's the Digimon card game video. I think it's called the first time I entered a card game tournament or something like that. That video changed the entire trajectory of my channel. I spent like 3 weeks working on it. I wanted it to be this fun little short docu-series about me entering my first card game tournament and what I learned from it, especially during the COVID era. And I put like everything I had into it, and I put it out into the world, and it bombed. It got probably the least amount of views I'd ever had at that point on any video. And then like a week later, Revice rumors started happening, and I did a video on Revice rumors, and that video skyrocketed, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just stick to Kamen Rider stuff now. You guys don't want to hear about the Digimon stuff. Harwap asks, what is one food from any tokusatsu show that you want to try the most? And it's just because I just watched it, the Don Brothers Donburi special, but like, I don't know what Donburi is, but it looked delicious, so like that stuff. If you could eat a colored jelly and gain a superpower associated with that bean, which would you pick and why? I would pick the red bean, which would taste like fruit roll-up and would give me invincibility powers, because I I bruise easily. If you could choose any Kamen Rider show to get a sequel season or movie, what would it be? Drive. Give me Drive. I want to see more Shinosuke. I want to see Kiriko actually become a rider this time. And probably their son, too. That would be great. What's your favorite driver in the 01 series, except the 01 driver? And the 01 driver is the best driver in that series. It's one of the best drivers in Kamen Rider. But I guess the Shot Riser? Yeah, what else is there? The Force Riser, the 1000 driver, the Slash Riser. Yeah, I guess the Shot Riser. The Shot Riser's cool. It's a gun. I'm getting into Kamen Rider and have watched 01. What are your thoughts on Geats? GOAT season. Watch Geats as soon as possible. Watch that and be like, man, this is what Kamen Rider can be? It's spectacular. What is your favorite Toku toy? Of the ones I've owned, probably the Kabuto, the CSM Kabuto Zector. And that's simply because like I like have a CSM and it's Kabuto and I love that show and it's just got all this functionality and it's cool. If I just am saying like simply based off of like, oh, this is my favorite thing that I own, that I get to own, but it's like an okay toy, like the Build Driver I love. Who do you think is the best female Kamen Rider? It's Nago. There's no, you can't even like try to defend anyone else next to Nago. CJ Frice asks, favorite purple rider and ranger? Yes, both. Ryu Commander for ranger, and for rider, oh gosh, I'm colorblind. Is Sword purple? I had to look up like what riders were purple, and now that I'm like see them in front of me, Sword is cool, but it's Rogue. Kamen Rider Rogue. If one suit had to go, what would it be? Build, Hazard, or Geats 9? This is an unfair question that I don't know why you would ask, but if we're talking like, oh gosh, even story-wise, they're both significant. I like Geats 9 better, so Build Hazard can go. Don't kill me. Will Toku predictions be out soon? No, I'm just a bad editor that takes forever. What do you think about Tokyuger? I haven't seen it, but I like the aesthetic. Gay trains. Colin asks, Digimon movie sub or dub? Dub. I grew up with Digimon, so I only watched it dub. I don't understand why I would ever watch the sub of Digimon specifically when like those voices are just iconic to me. Mugiwara asks both, why do you have beef with Buggy the Clown and how's One Piece so far and what episode you're on? I don't know which episode I'm on. I'm watching One Piece, but I literally just started like last night. So I'm on a Buggy portion. I stopped in the middle of like episode 2 of One Piece, of the Buggy of Orange Town of One Piece. Why do I have beef with Buggy the Clown? I don't know. He just hates the Straw Hats. All right, as I was editing this video, I realized that for some reason the microphone cut off like halfway through these questions, starting with this one. So, you know, 3 years in, 10,000 subscribers, we're still figuring stuff out. So let's go. Keeping it going. Pavel asked, what's your next goal? And I think beyond like 10,000 and stuff is just like bringing more people onto the channel, hiring editors. I have an entire like backlog of streams that I could edit and they would be great YouTube videos. I just don't have the time to edit a lot of them now. There's probably like at least 20 to 25 streams that I could edit, put up on the channel tomorrow, and I know would do really well as videos. There's like 5 Reddit recaps that I've missed, or writer recaps that I've missed so far. But yeah, that's the big goal for 2024, I would say, is like getting more editors to jump on the channel and making the channel a lot more profitable that way so that I can afford the editors and they pay for themselves and all that good stuff. So just, I really want to make it a lot more self-sufficient. Sentai and Rider fan asks, what Kamen Riders would make Benji Dunn from Mission Impossible as their friend? And I think this is the same person on Twitter who asked me, do you know about Simon Pegg? If you do, what is your favorite movie with him? Either he's the main, secondary main, bad guy, or side character. It's fine if you include Mission Impossible and Star Trek. So like big Simon Pegg fan in the chat. I would say my favorite movie with Simon Pegg is neither of those. I really like How to Lose Friends and Alienate People. Which Rider series would you nominate to have for the next CSM? Selfishly, Build. I always want Build. But I also think X-Aid would be really funny because like the X-Aid driver is just a piece of plastic with a mirror in it. So that's hilarious. But if I want like the next like high spec CSM, like really thought put into it. It's not just like a piece of plastic anymore. It's like does all the things. Probably the Desire Driver. I love the Desire Driver's like setup and the raised buckles. I think coming with the main, what is it, 4 or 5 raised buckles would be a really sick set to have for a CSM. If you could rewrite a Kamen Rider series, which one and how? Honestly, the end of 01, I've always thought about this. I would have Aruto stay the bad guy and his friends, you know, Jin, Hirobi, Vulcan, Valkyrie, all have to defeat him together, but they tell the general populace that like Aruto was the big hero and he's the one that saved everything and saved all the human gears from this threat that is the Ark. And so he gets like a statue erected and everything of him. And they all have to like keep this secret that Aruto was secretly the main bad, because it's better for him to have this legacy of hope and belief for humans and human gears. Kind of like it's basically the Dark Knight. Like, I want Aruto to be Harvey Dent. What is one piece of merchandise you want to get but you haven't gotten yet? I really want I keep saying build stuff, but Build Genius. I really want the O's CSM driver. It's like my favorite CSM driver. I was nowhere into like the design of O's or like the belt or the driver at all. And then as soon as I watched it, I was like, I need all of this. I want the O's CSM driver so bad. I also think just a ton of CSM drivers. Also the Build Raw Genesis toy, because that thing is fire. Also, I told this on the last recording, but I forgot to say it here, is that like down in downtown LA, there's a shop and they used to have a Type Trideron, not a Type Trideron, but a Trideron car and the drive pit. It's like a Figuarts car and the drive pit together. And it was $500. And I remember always walking into that shop and looking up and being like, man, if I ever make it, I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy that, and that's how I'll know like I made it doing this stuff. And I never bought it, and I don't know if it's there anymore. But I still don't have the money to buy it, so technically haven't made it yet. Any Toku shows you want to watch that you've never seen before? I'd love to finish Wind Spectre. I thought Wind Spectre was really good for the 1 or 2 episodes that I watched for the old podcast. But also B-Fighter. I loved Beetleborgs, and then I went back and tried to watch it on Netflix when it was backed out like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, it's just not for me now as an adult, but it's fine. But I think B-Fighter would be a lot more up my alley. What season of Kamen Rider from Neo Heisei / Showa would you give a Black Sun adaptation to? So not regular Heisei, just Neo Heisei and Showa. Probably O's. I think the greed storyline and like human desires is a really good thing to play off of, especially in that adult world. I bet some of you thought, man, he's gonna say Build again, but honestly, I won't say Build, because I really like what Build did with the war storyline inside of a children's show. Like, I think if you just make it this blood everywhere splattering thing, it's like, yeah, this is just a war thing. This is just Amazons. That's fine. But I really like that Build did it very well within the constraints of being a children's show. So yeah, ultimate pick, I guess, would be Kamen Rider O's or Drive. I actually think, wait, hold on, Drive. It's got to be Drive, right? Drive. You can tell like a really fascinating cop story with the Drive characters in kind of a more adult setting. So yeah, and the police thing, there's tons of ways to play off of that. It's got to be Drive. If you were a rider in the DGP, what buckle would you make your designated buckle? Like Tycoon with Ninja, Buffalo with Zombie, Nago with Beat. If I'm cheating and can pick like not the main regular base buckles, Fantasy, because I love the idea of Fantasy. I think it looks great. I'm sad that it didn't get a side. I want to see Fantasy and Fever together. But also like Magnum. Magnum is just so cool. I love white rider suits. It just looks sick. It's clean. Magnum Fever is probably the best Fever form I've seen. So yeah, Magnum. Thoughts on feet? I mean, I don't like them, but they help me walk. Thoughts on Best Dog? Sorama is listening. Best Dog. Why do you hate Forze so much? Forze is friends with murderers. I don't know how many times I have to say this to get like the point across, because I know you have seen me answer this question before. Forze is friends with murderers. What was your favorite random Toku collab with a different franchise, i.e. Kamen Rider with Puzzles and Dragons or Power Rangers with TMNT? Power Rangers with TMNT is like hits the nostalgia button so hard for me, because I remember that airing and being like, I love this so much. But looking back now as an adult, I probably like anytime like they put the Garo armor in, I think they put it in Final Fantasy and they put it in Monster Hunter. I love those things. I wish more franchises would do that. What's your favorite Toku movie? Kamen Rider Drive Surprise Future, I love. It was one of the first like Kamen Rider movies I saw, and so everything just felt so much bigger to me, and I was like, my mind was blown. And even now, I'll go back and watch it, I'm like, Surprise Future is really damn good. Who are your favorite Rangers from both Power Rangers and Super Sentai? From Power Rangers, I love Zane, the In-Space Silver Ranger. He's Fox Kids' versions of Brad Pitt. He was like the dumbest ranger at the time. He just wanted to chill out and hang out with his friends, and it was like, I looked at him and I was like, that's a cool dude. For Super Sentai is Zenkaiser. I love Zenkaiser. I think it's the most beautiful suit in all of Tokusatsu. And I love actor that portrays him, Kiri Konomine. I think he does a fantastic job. What attracted you to Tokusatsu specifically to make content out of? And do you wish you could branch out into different styles of content? Which ones? Also, what are your opinions on top hats? Top hats are cool. As far as what made me choose Tokusatsu as like, this is what I want to make videos out of. It was just something like I had nobody really to talk to about it that I really wanted to when COVID came around and everything. So I was like, hey, let me talk about it on YouTube and maybe someone will listen and I can get into like a conversation in the comments or something. And then I like really started enjoying watching it with other people over on Twitch because we do it every Tuesday, and it just makes everything so much more enjoyable. Even the shows that I'm not enjoying, or like the episodes that I'm like, not much happened. It's so much more fun to watch it with a group and share this kind of collective inside jokes and everything than it was just hanging out and watching it on my own. There are shows that hanging out and watching my own I feel like are better for that situation, but if I'm watching this year-round 50 episode show that has like a ton of filler as Kamen Rider and Sentai are known to have, I think this is one of my favorite ways to do it. In terms of other content I would like to do, yeah, I would love to do like video essays and content based on like anime and manga. I think that goes really good adjacent to Toku, but doing that stuff because I'm just one person and that works on this channel, doing that stuff would take away from the output of that I have for Tokusatsu. So this all goes back to the question beforehand, talking about what I would do if I could hire more editors. I would definitely put out more content based on like anime and such, or things that I like more of that nature, because I just have all these ideas for more stuff. But as far as actual manpower and time to put into it, like this is what I have. So I'm gonna like stick on what I know people are here for. If you can cast a main Team Sentai actor as a main rider, who would it be? I really like Tamatomo from Kira Major. I think he's incredible. He's like super swagged out too. So like Tamatomo, he's the man. Every now and then you post comic book takes. Super interested in hearing about some of your favorite books, characters, etc. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna put this into perspective for you. I started reading comic books like back when OG Civil War, comic book Civil War came out, because like that attracted me and I could start buying, and my parents started taking me around shops more. So like I was reading from then probably to about Fear Itself, I would say, maybe a little bit past Fear Itself. But in terms of like timeline, that's when I was like really into comics, reading things every single week, had tons of books on my pull list. Probably, honestly, was pulling like 6-7 books a week. Like that's just how insane I was for it. And so I was like deep in it. In terms of like what I liked, I was big on Nightwing. Loved Nightwing. I was big on the Young Avengers. Runaways Volume 1 and 2 are some of my favorite runs of all time. Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four is one of my favorite runs of all time. I think it's amazing. It made me want to read, like, it made me basically read anything Hickman did from then on. So like Hickman's Secret Wars, Hickman's Avengers run, I was like full in, because I was like, Jonathan Hickman, this is my guy. Even Shield and Secret Warriors, I was like, let's go. Over on the DC side, like I said, Nightwing I really liked. I really liked Gotham Academy. I was super into. Shout out Maps. And then I really liked, I can't remember, I don't think I even finished it, but there's a book called Morning Glories by Nick Spencer that I was like really into at the time. But this is all like going through high school me and like graduating high school, that area of stuff. So that's what I read. Oh, and Spider-Man. I was like a gigantic Spider-Man reader when Spider-Man, I don't know if it still does, but when Spider-Man was coming out weekly, they were doing 3 issues of Amazing Spider-Man every single month, and I had all of them. Made me love Joe Kelly as a writer. Joe Kelly's Spider-Man, I think, is like the definitive Spider-Man for me. The Gauntlet I loved as a storyline. American Son I thought was really cool. I wasn't like as much into the internet space at the time. I think I listened to like 1 or 2 comics podcasts, so I wasn't like in the brain space of like, oh, let's hate everything, which is how more I feel when I see comic takes come across on Twitter and stuff now. I was very much like just reading it to enjoy myself, and I very much enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man at the time. Favorite Metal Hero series. I like what I've seen of Winspector. I've never seen like a full Metal Hero series. I think all the Space Sheriff ones I've seen kind of blend together and kind of the samesies to me. But from what I've seen with Winspector and like Captain Fire and his like hair flip, I'm like, Winspector's really cool. I like that one. I keep thinking of better answers after I'm done, but Blue SWAT I think was amazing. They were very much like, we don't really have toys to sell here. We're just a SWAT team that shoots stuff. So this is what you get. I thought that was incredible. Favorite Sixth Ranger, and also which mecha would you like to be reincarnated as, just in case? Just in case what exactly? Favorite Sixth Ranger is Zane from Power Rangers in Space. I said it already in the video. And what mecha would I like to be reincarnated as? Probably the Lightning Megazord. Lightning or Samurai Megazord. I can't remember what it's called. But the second MMPR Megazord, I think, is just it's probably my favorite Megazord there is. Also Gao King, I really like the design of. So either of those two, I'm A-okay with. Thoughts on stinky VTubers?
Stink, bitch. I like that.